Thank you so much, Luz, for being here on our first time home webinar. I really appreciate your time and letting our guests know a little bit more about what CalHFA products can actually help them in regards to planning to purchase a home and what is available for them, not just, for this year, but also for what's coming up for 2026. So thank you so much. And let's hear what you have to say.
Thank you, Sandra. Yeah, it's always a great time, just especially now, the end of the year, to start preparing for home ownership in 2026 with a lot of the changes that are coming for consumer. It's a perfect time to prepare to buy a home. So thank you for having me. And today we're going to be covering about CalHFA and down payment assistance programs, right? Which is a very popular program right now, and everyone on social media is talking about the famous Dream for All program, which we will cover. But before that, we will cover other down payment assistance programs. So thank you for having me. My name is Luz Yuncor with New World Mortgage, and I've been in the mortgage industry for 25 years. And in 25 years that I've been servicing the community in Los Angeles, it's been amazing to see the different type of programs available for first-time buyer. And to be honest, in my career, I have never seen as many programs available now than in the past. So if you have not, been involved or you haven't heard about programs that are available besides CalHFA products, please ask us about anything else that you are reading about because there's a lot of first-time buyer programs available. So we're going to be starting today with just basic information on CalHFA, and obviously our goal is to make sure that we're able to communicate everything and provide to you enough information that you can apply and move on with your application, okay? All right, let's get moving here real quick. So today's event, if you are registered, it's a webinar. We're going to talk, like Sandra mentioned to us, it's going to be all about CalHFA products and how to buy your first home. Our agenda, we're going to cover these topics. I'm going to talk a little bit about CalHFA's mission, different loan programs, borrowers eligibility, CalHFA products, income limitation, which is really important. It's a big question that we get asked all the time. Dream for All program requirements, choosing a lender, how it's important for you to choose a lender that's familiar with down payment assistance program, and how down payment assistance program make a difference in the steps of your loan application. All right, let's start with CalHFA's vision. So CalHFA, it's available for everyone in California, and their vision is for all California living in homes that they could afford. Okay, so that is a really great vision because a lot of times, people get into homes and they can't exactly afford them afterwards. So their vision is to make sure the affordability is there with all consumers. Their mission is investing in diverse communities with financing programs that help more Californians have a place to call home. So the CalHFA has been existing since 1975. They are celebrating their 50th year this year. So it's great to see that. And if you go on their website, I highly recommend you sign up for their e-news. You are always going to be updated with all the most current trends and programs available. So, CalHFA has a lot of different programs online, and when consumers visit the website, it gets a little bit confusing of all the information that it's posting there. And this is why attending to these webinars are really important for the consumer because they're able to understand the programs a little bit more in depth and which one is the best one that fits for their needs. So CalHFA has, different options from down payment assistance. You can get from 3 to 3.5%, up to 5%, or even 6%, depending how much money you need to be able to fund your purchase. So my home program can lend 3 to 3.5% for down payment assistance. You can use that towards your down payment or your closing costs. So you don't have to use the assistance program just for down payment. You can choose to use it for either down payment or closing costs. Okay. My home program, it's also 1% simple interest. That means it is a loan. So when you repay it back, it's only 1% simple interest. And it is a deferred mortgage. Okay. So my Access, which is a newer program, allows you to get 2.5% in addition to the down payment and your closing costs. All right. And then SIP program, it gives you a 2 to 3% for closing cost only. Okay. The difference between each program is going to be the interest rate. So if you go online to CalHFA's website, you're going to see the interest rate's going to change depending on the My Home program, My Access, or the ZIP. Today, because interest rates are higher than usual, most of the consumers are getting anything between My Home or My Access. Unless you really need additional closing costs, then the ZIP program is there available, but the ZIP program, the interest rate's pretty high. So today's, I'll give you an example. The average rate was 6% for My Home, and using My ZIP, you're looking closer to 7.25. So that's a huge difference on interest rate. Okay, minimum credit score to be eligible for the program. It is a 640 for an FHA loan, 680 for conventional loans. For this program, you must be a first-time home buyer. That means you could have not owned a home in the last 3 years. You are required home buyer education course. It's an 8-hour online that you have to do. And then this month until December, there's a HUD agency that's giving everyone $50 off. So it's typically $100. But if you sign up and take it this month, I do have a coupon for $50 for anyone that's interested. It is only for single family, 1 unit only, and it's owner occupied only. Okay, and you do require 1 year home warranty. And the reason why I require the home warranty is that you don't want to get into a home, something breaks, and then you don't have the money to fix it. So it's really important for you to know that you will be required a 1 year home warranty. And there's also income limitations for these programs. So we want to make sure that those income limitations are met, and we're going to go through that. Okay. Okay, where did I just skip one? Give me 1 second. I think I just skipped one. Okay. Right. Okay. So these are the way the CalHFA programs work. It's the first lien, it's for My Home, right? So the mortgage, the big loan, it's going to be covered by the bank. The down payment assistance program under My Home becomes your second mortgage. So that's the down payment. Okay. And if you receive closing costs, that's going to be My Access program, which is going to be the third loan. Okay. I think I got disconnected from my Bluetooth. Can you hear me, Sandra?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, give me 1 second. Can you hear me now on my Bluetooth? Yes?
Yes, can hear
Okay,
you.
awesome. Okay, perfect. I was just trying to, okay. All right, so the CalHFA mortgage programs are going to be like this listed: first lien, second lien, and third lien, right? So you're going to have 3 loans if you get access to closing costs. So we want to make sure that you understand the difference between just the down payment assistance program versus down payment plus closing costs. Okay, because a lot of times people get confused when we're disclosing to them 3 different set of loan documents. They're like, why am I signing 3 sets of loan documents? And that's going to be the big mortgage. It's going to be the first lien, which is the larger loan balance. CalHFA provides us a second lien, which would be My Home, and then the third lien would be the closing costs if needed. Okay. And again, if this is, a little bit confusing, once you submit an application with us, we're going to go and explain in detail which program it's the one that you're going to participate and how does that work. So we will show you the difference between, My Home programs versus the Access program. Online too, CalHFA provides a calculator for consumers that you can go in there and, just plug in a scenario and it will give you 3 different options. Income limitations. So income limitations are going to be based on the area you're going to be buying your home. Again, you don't need to make $194,000 to participate in the program. This is just how much the maximum income that is allowed to participate on the program. So it's going to be based on, gross income, not net. So that's another question people ask. And then the income limit, it's going to be based on all the income that's provided by you or your co-applicant, right? So we don't go off taxes. It's whoever applies with us. Unlike city programs, they're going to see your tax return. So they're going to calculate everyone in the household, and they're going to calculate dependents. State of California program's a little bit different. We're only going to use the income that you provide to us on the application. That's it. We're not going to look at the taxes, right? So if you do have a co-applicant on your taxes, a joint filing with you, and then your income exceeds the limitation, but they're not applying with us, we will not decline the loan for that purpose. Versus like programs like this, LIPA or MIPA, LA County or Riverside County, they do take the whole income in consideration. So here it's just an overview on some of the income limits based on counties. So LA County 194, Riverside 193, Orange County 255, San Diego 236, Santa Barbara 235, Ventura County 248. So as you can see, the income limits are very favorable. So this is why CalHFA attracts a lot, all types of consumers, right? Low income, medium income, they all can participate on this program, which if you're in the Orange County and you're making $255,000, well, you're able to qualify for a high balance loan, right? So imagine if CalHFA assists you with that program, you're looking at CalHFA providing you sometimes $30,000 in down payment assistance. That's a big, big amount of money that you could save for remodeling or construction or anything you want to do the home. And it's a deferred loan, and it's a 1% simple interest. You can't get money any cheaper versus using CalHFA. So it's a great program to utilize. Now, let's talk a little bit about the Dream for All program. This has been the ongoing talk all over social media. It's very anticipated. The program has already existed for 2 years. This is the third year. The first year, they say, was the only time funds was going to be available. We were done with that. We closed the chapter, and then 2025 comes. There's additional funding. The first year, it was first come, first serve. So it was a little crazy for us because everyone wanted the money. It was chaos, and the money was gone in 11 days. It was really crazy. By the time people heard about the program, we had no more funds available. So second time around, CalHFA decided to use to let people know with anticipation. And also they changed the way the program works. It's not first come, first serve, but it's a randomized drawing. Once you submit an application and you register, then you're selected to see if you won the lottery. We don't want to call it lottery because it's not free money, but it's a selected program. Now, one of the things that we didn't know that CalHFA was going to do in 2025 is that there was the winners and there was the waiting list, right? So everyone in the waiting list in the beginning, as people did not use their vouchers, were automatically getting their certificate. They're getting issued a winning ticket. But towards the middle of the year, sometime about July, CalHFA had additional funding from these states. So what they did is that they released all the waitlisters a voucher. So anyone that was in the waiting list received a voucher. I have clients that we kept reaching out to them, say, if you're in the waiting list, check your emails because you probably received a voucher. And they had no idea the voucher was in their portal. So they received the funding. So even my clients who were number 950 on the waiting list received a voucher. So in this time around, if you are waitlisted, hang on there because you probably are going to receive a voucher too. So the reason why there's additional funding, two things happen. It's one, people didn't use the voucher. They didn't find a property in the time frame that they're required to use it. Some of them just let it expire. They lost their job. They were not ready. There's so many situations that happen. So there's a lot of money left over from the first round for 2025. In addition to that, CalHFA received additional funding for 2026. So it's a combination of early draws, expired vouchers, additional funding. So now in 2026, the program's going to open. Will this happen in 2027? My guess is yes.
Right.
Okay, my guess is yes, because there's going to be people that are rolling over from 25 to 26 that didn't use their voucher. So you're in the waiting list. You'll probably receive it in 27. So we'll see how
Question,
the, yes.
question, Luz, for the twin, like the ones that had already had a voucher and going for
Mhm.
2026, do they have to reapply like now on again?
If they did not receive, if they were not selected, yes, there's going to be
Okay.
a new application. Yeah. So I had clients that have been in my database for 2 years and they were not selected and they were
Okay.
not on the waiting list. They're going to give it a try again.
So
Okay.
waiting list, you don't need to reapply again anymore if you got and even though you let's say you didn't use your voucher or something happened, like you said, maybe a job got lost
Mhm.
or a different scenario, because of that, they would still have to apply. It can't just be like you were already in the waiting list. You can go now.
Yeah, they have to reapply now. So there's no more waiting list
Okay.
anymore. Okay. So the waiting list is gone. Everyone that was in the waiting list received a voucher. So
Okay.
now CalHFA is starting with a clean canvas, all
Got
new registrations. So if you didn't win before and you want to apply again, you're more than welcome to apply. You do need a new application. Okay. Your 8-hour education probably also expired. You need to take the course again.
it.
So it's brand new everything. So you have to start over again. Okay. So the highlight of the program and why it's such a popular program, but I know social media is saying, oh, the government's giving away $150,000. Well, they're not giving away because it's a shared appreciation loan. Okay. So it's not free money. A lot of people are misinterpreting this program by saying CalHFA is giving away. They're not giving away. They are offering 20% of down payment or closing costs up to $150,000. It is a loan and it's also a shared appreciation loan. So that means you're going to share your equity when you sell your home or when you refinance your property. Okay. So it's not free money. It's not a grant. So we want to make that very transparent. This is not a grant. Okay. So in order for you to be eligible for the program, one borrower must meet first generation criteria. So that means if there is you and someone else applied and the other person owned a home that their parents own a home, that is okay as long as one person is first generation home buyer. Okay. One borrower must also be a current resident of California. And why that's spelled out, because a lot of times people are bringing, a brother, a sister, a sibling, someone to move in with the house and buy the house with them, but they're not currently living in California. That is okay as long as one borrower lives here, but everyone must occupy the home. So for the loan purpose, we need to make sure the person living out of state it's going to be moving and relocating with a job in California. Okay. And all borrowers must be first time home buyers. You could not have owned a home in the past. Okay. And then you must meet income limitations for the Dream for All program, which is very different than My Home. It's a little bit less, but it's also very favorable, which we'll go over the income limits. Some documents are going to be needed for the participation of the program, and it's not specific for us, the lenders, but it's something you need to prepare for. And this is one of the things that perhaps hold up your registration. So you want to make sure you have everything already lined up. Number one is that you're going to need a pre-approval letter from a lender, okay? And not just a regular pre-approval letter. This is going to be a California Dream for All program pre-approval letter, okay? So only specific lenders, participant lenders with CalHFA can give you the pre-approval letter, okay? So make sure that you're uploading from an approved lender that it's actually in the CalHFA's list because trust me, I have clients that were so upset that they did not submit the right letter to CalHFA. So they were not registered correctly. Okay. The lender
And
was
they
not approved by
and they get this
CalHFA
list from going to CalHFA, the website,
website.
right? Yeah.
Correct. Yes. Okay. When you registered, so what we do with our clients, we're preparing them to already apply with us. We're giving them all the information they need, what scenarios they would look like if they win or versus they're not winning, what my home would look like. And then we are putting them on our Dream for All waiting list. So once the portal opens, they get an email from us notifying with instructions on how to upload their pre-approval letter and what the next step is, right? So we do walk everyone through the whole process all the way to the closing period for the Dream for All program. So one of the things that's really important for consumers to know is that CalHFA's portal is going to require certain documents. Besides the pre-approval letter, they're going to require for you to have a valid ID, no, not an expired ID. Okay, so that can be your passport, driver's license, military ID, permanent residence card, visa, or employment. Now, here's a big thing. CalHFA loans are conventional loans only. You must be a permanent resident or work authorization to participate on the program. No I-10s. We get asked that question a lot. Okay. Foster care documentation. So if you are validating the birth certificate of your parents or you're in foster care, we need to make sure we have those documents as well. So the applications for DFA, it's going to require the birth certificate for your parents, and that's just to validate the first generation. Okay, so not both people that are applying, we need the birth certificate. We just need the birth certificate of the one that is going to meet the first generation guideline. Okay, one big question we get asked is, what if I don't know my parents? I don't know where they're at, they're being, that's okay. In the portal, you can put all the information that you don't know if they own a property. You don't know if they were owners before. You could only disclose what you know that you have knowledge of. That's why those birth certificates are going to be really important because CalHFA will check on that. Okay. So those documents are going to be really important for you to have. You cannot register your voucher and not have this information uploaded. A lot of things that happened the last couple of years is that people registered, they closed it out, and then they called CalHFA later and said, now I have my birth certificate. Well, CalHFA is not going to take it. You need to have all these documents before. So it's really important for you to have this information. And it's all about being prepared. This is why we do these webinars, because in the past, people were not prepared and they're running last minute to try to get this information over. We talked about education requirements. You are required an 8-hour course from a HUD-approved agency, and this can be an in-person or online. And we will send everyone a email with this recording along with your home buyer certificate coupon of $50 if you want to take the course online. You are required also, in addition to that, it's a 1-hour course and it's free and it's online, and it's just specific about the Dream for All program. And why CalHFA, in addition to the 8-hour, they want you to take a 1-hour course, it's because Dream for All program is not for everybody, okay? And sometimes the media sells it like it's free money, and then they don't understand that you need to share your equity. So in this 1-hour course, you're going to learn the specifics about home ownership and what it details in the Dream for All program to make sure that you really understand that when you sell your home, you're going to repay back the money along with 20% of your equity. So that's really important for you to know. Okay. So if you don't understand it, webinars or what you're reading, this 1-hour education course by CalHFA, it's very useful and it really helped to give that transparency to a lot of my clients. Dream for All programs, income eligibility, it's very different than my home program. As you can see, it's less. So for LA County, it's 168. And if you're making $168,000, 100, you can't participate. It has to be under 168. I had clients that said, Lewis, I'm at 168.5. You don't qualify. You have to stay under 168. There's no exceptions to that. Not at all. Okay. So these are the income limits. Again, you can go to CalHFA's website if it's not your county that's listed here. In CalHFA's website, you're able to see all the other income limitations. So I want to talk a little bit about it. I'm just barely going to tap on this because, again, the 1-hour course is going to show you a little bit more in depth how this works. But Moderate income and low income have two separate shared appreciations. So what moderate income versus low income means is that low income, you're not making more than like a certain amount depending on every year's income limitations. And if that's the case, if you're a lower income applicant, then you're not going to share 20%, you're going to be sharing 15%. So you'll share less. Okay. So moderate income means anyone that's making over the $90,000 a year, right? So which in most cases, the majority in LA County to buy a home, it gets very expensive. You're a moderate income. So this is the way the Dream for All program works, is that once your value goes up by 20%, you're going to be paying back the loan that's given to you. And then any equity left, you're going to be sharing that 20% of appreciation. Okay. So keep that in mind. So if you get a first mortgage, for example, I'm going to just share this with you, and this is all on CalHFA's website, and the little calculators there for you to go in there and run some exercise in case. Also, when you sign loan documents, all this information is also going to be given to you again. We're going to make sure that you understand how this program works. The last thing is that we like for our consumers is we don't want you to get the loan and then later on figure out when you refinance that you need to share your equity with somebody. Okay. So this is why this program, it's not for everybody. Okay. If this is your only way of getting a home, then sharing 20% with CalHFA and with the state of California, it's very minimal for the funding that you're going to receive, right? So on this one, for example, it's a 5 years later appreciation. So if you received a loan for 400,000 and then the Dream for All program gave you $100,000, right, which is 20% of 500, and the value of your home increases 5 years later to 640, well, you just gain $140,000 of equity. Okay. So you're going to be sharing, right? Homeowners shared appreciation is going to be $112,000. That's your, and then the 20% is the $28,000 that you're going to be sharing with CalHFA. Okay. So it's not a lot. So in 5 years, if your equity goes up, this is when you want to refinance and you want to get out of this loan, pay back the loan, get your equity, and pay back CalHFA that 20%, right? You could refinance. That's another big question is you can refinance after 1 year that you acquire the loan. So you can't refinance right away. Okay. You have to wait 1 year to refinance the mortgage. And in that year, you just lower your interest rate. You don't have to pay back the loan. They will subordinate the mortgage. So you don't have to worry about that. So the second example is the lower medium income. This one, it's shared less. This one's only going to be 15% of the equity that it's earned. So if you are, in the lower income limitations, then the shared equity is going to be less, right? Because CalHFA wants to make sure that they're building wealth, and anyone that makes less, then of course, the goal is for you to create more real estate wealth through equity. So you are going to be sharing less of the appreciation with CalHFA. Okay. So in this case would be 15%.
Quick question.
Yes.
So I know that I've gotten the questions as far as like, okay, so you're able to refinance once you get a certain amount of equity into the property, let's say a year or two, and remove them from that where you have to, give them with the 20%. So you're able to do that?
You're able to pay them off anytime,
Okay.
right? So if you have a rich uncle that next year gives you $150,000 and you want to pay him off, that's great. They're just going to see, okay, what's the equity on the property? Pay me back the 20% if there is equity, right?
Okay,
So
so you pay
at
the 150 plus the 20% of
plus,
equity that whatever it's wherever it's at the moment, right?
correct.
And
Yeah.
now it's a up to 150, but you don't have to get the full 150. So if you only get 80 or you get like is that
No. So it's 20% of the price of the property up
Mhm.
to 150.
Okay,
Up to. So if you're buying a $500,000 home, you're only going to receive $100,000
got it.
max, right? And you can use that money towards closing costs and down payments. Okay.
Okay.
So you don't have to use it. The goal of using everything for 20%, is that you're going to avoid PMI.
Right. Right.
Okay. Second reason why a lot of people are going to be using, the besides the avoiding the PMI, it's that you could also with the 20%, right? You can negotiate your closing costs. So then you would be able to use all the funding for that.
Hmm.
You could also add in additional 5% of your own money. Okay, but you cannot add in more than that. So we get a lot of clients say, what if I have $100,000? Can I put the 150 that they're giving me plus 100,000? No, you're maximized 5% only. And this is just for the Dream for All program. With My Home, you can use a 3% down payment assistance and put as much money you like. So there's no restrictions with the standard traditional My Home programs. With the Dream for All programs, you're capped at 5%.
Well, they're doing that too because it's catered to the people that need that amount of
That
money, right, to be able to
cor-
do it. Because if you have that amount, then you should be able to purchase on your own or use different type of loans, which is what I'm
correct.
guessing on that.
Yeah, yeah. So
Okay.
it's definitely not for everybody. The program, has helped a lot of families. In our case, in the last couple of years, I think we're already in the like 50th Dream for All program participant, just in my branch, and we've been receiving a lot of applications for the last couple of years. So it is true. There is a possibility, even for the ones that thought I'm never going to get selected, were selected this year. And for them was, a big, you know, accomplishment that they were able to to buy their home with 20% down payment. They were never going to be able to save 20% down. It's a lot of money, especially in today's economy. You're talking about $150,000. It's $150,000, right?
Yeah, and I've been
So
getting a lot of clients that way, and I know a lot of people have been like, "Oh, well, I'm gonna need, help with closing costs. I'm gonna need help with down
yeah.
payment assistance." So
Hmm.
they're looking a little bit more like they make enough money, I would say, on their concept of when they get pre-approved.
Hmm.
I just had a client who reached out and they make, I think, like 11K a month between her and her
Yeah.
husband, her the
Yeah.
wife, but they don't have an amount that they want to place out as a down payment, for it or
Yeah.
closing
Yeah.
costs.
Yeah. And one of the things that I didn't cover with the Dream for All yet, and it's not part because it's such a new program, it's coming early in 2026. So in January, it can be January or February, we don't know yet. The guidelines that we had the last couple of years, we're assuming they're going to be the same, but we don't know, right? And guidelines meaning credit score criteria, right?
Mhm.
Credit score criteria, it's always been a 680 credit score that's been required. I didn't really highlight that in the PowerPoint presentation because it hasn't been released yet that that is going to be a for sure deal, right? It may be 660, it might be 700, we don't know yet. But in the past, it was 680 credit score. And if you had a 700 credit score, your purchase power is higher because you're allowed to go up to 50% debt to income ratio. With 680, you're only allowed to purchase up to 45% debt to income ratio.
Mm.
So if you're in the limbo of the credit score being at 660, 670, this is when you want to apply and already start working on your credit. That's what we're anticipating. A lot of my clients, we already have a lot of applications ready to go. When the program opens, we just are issuing pre-approval letters now. Some are working on their credit, so it's important to start working on your credit now and not wait until the last minute because everyone's in a rush, everyone gets busy, the portal closes, there's a deadline at midnight, and then if you don't have your pre-approval letter, you're left out.
Oh,
Okay.
wow. So it's
Yeah.
very, very strategic to know that you have to have all of these items taken care of prior to it, right?
Absolutely. And you don't want to wait last minute, right? You want to
Yeah.
be educated. You want to know how the program works. You want to ask the questions. You want to know if this is the right program for you. It's not for everybody, right? My home might work out better for you,
Right. And now
you
if
know?
anything goes above, because I know credit scores has always been with like a little bit of I would say like a pressure point for a lot of buyers that are,
Hmm.
wanting to. If it's because I know some are like, well, I have great credit score, but their income to debt ratio is a little bit, it's different. So that's where
Hmm.
they're like, well, what if I have a 750 to 8? That one for a Dream for All caps at 700, right? Regardless.
No, you have your credit score, the minimum is 680.
Okay.
That's the minimum,
Got
right? So the minimum requirement 680. So if you have a 679, you can't participate. You have a 680, yes.
it. Okay.
So what we mean about 700 credit score plus is that if you have a 700 credit score and beyond that, you could qualify for a higher purchase price because CalHFA will allow you to go up to 50% of your debt to income ratio versus 45, right?
Got
So
it.
that's the only difference. Interest rate wise, it's going to be the same. For
Mm,
anyone that has a 680, 700, 740, 800, it doesn't matter. CalHFA will give you the same interest rate. And which is what I love about this program is that if you log on to their website, you can see the interest rate you're going to receive on a daily basis, right? So
mm.
once you open escrow, that is the rate you get. So whether you work with us, whether you work with another lender, another CalHFA approved lender, we're all going to provide you the same rate. Okay.
Okay. From the day
What's
you open escrow, like
the
you log
day
on and that's exactly where you get.
if you decide to lock that date, right?
Yeah.
You can decide to float and then you lock in, right before loan documents, but that
Got
would
it.
pretty much be the rate you receive. So quotes right now that we're providing, it's not going to be what you're going to receive when the program opens.
Hmm.
Okay,
Hmm.
so a lot of time that's a big question. Is that the rate I'm going to get? No.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
the rate's going to change depending when the program opens up and when you find the property. Another big question we get asked for Dream for All program is how long do I have to find the house after I win? You get a voucher first for 90 days, and you're allowed to extend it for an additional 90 days. So in total, 6 months.
Mm,
Okay.
okay.
And you have to be in contract right before the very last expiration date.
Mm,
Okay. So we have to be careful. And that's why they give you 6 months because that's plenty of time. Things happen. Sometimes you're not going to like the home. You're going to fall out of escrow. You can go and get a new voucher afterwards, and we'll help you take care of that. So you don't have to stay with the first home. You will not lose your voucher. You can cancel and move on to another property if something goes wrong with the inspections or something with the property with the collateral.
that
So
was my
just
question because things can happen with certain properties.
mhm,
Let's say,
yeah.
something's wrong with the foundation. I don't know, something, and they're like,
Mhm.
okay, we can't move forward. So that voucher because that voucher is attached to that address, right? So that escrow.
Correct.
So then
Correct.
you guys would have to give a new one,
Yeah.
I guess assign a new
Yeah.
voucher. Okay.
Yeah. So it gets canceled and then CalHFA puts a new voucher into their portal, releasing the old escrow.
Got
Okay,
it.
so you can be in escrow 3 or 4 times within that 6 month period. You don't have to close escrow before your expiration date. You just need to have register your voucher the day before it expires at midnight.
And okay, got it.
Okay, so it has to be registered. Let me take that back, not midnight. CalHFA, their last registration is 2 p.m.
Okay.
Yeah. So we have to register the voucher ASAP. So,
Okay.
we'll take care of all that and we'll guide you. And this is why it's important to choose a company that is familiar with CalHFA programs that have processed, programs with My Home and Dream for All. We have been participating with the Dream for All program since it started. In fact, when I started promoting Dream for All program, nobody really believed the program was even real. And this is why we were so busy. So choosing the right team, it's going to be really important. It's important not just the lender, but also the agent partner, because they're going to express to the listing agent the importance of, meeting all contingency periods, meeting all the guidelines, making sure that we're on track with closing periods, because if it depends on your voucher, we want to get things done quickly. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So with with the program, it's always making sure that you really understand how it works. You want to make sure that you ask all the questions from the beginning to that way when you are selected, then we just move forward and find the right property, right? You don't want to have any doubt. So that's why I always recommend everyone take your 8-hour education course, take the 1-hour Dream for All program course. This is going to help you and educate you whether it's the right program for you or not. Okay. And if it's not, we have other programs that are grant programs, there's city programs available. There's other things that might interest you. Please reach out to us, let us know, and we'll definitely help you navigate through that process. Okay. We're almost going to be done here. So the what I would recommend afterwards is start applying. Be familiar with how down payment assistance make a difference in your budget. That's really important. Sometimes people don't realize how down payment assistance help you navigate through that. You know, traditional loans ask you for 3 to 20% down payment. Traditional loans are going to be higher in cost out of pockets because you're going to need to bring everything, which is an average 6% between down payment and closing cost. Traditional loans, have standard process, right? We're collecting documents, application, tax returns. Traditional loans are also can be have higher payments because interest rates for CalHFA programs are lower. Okay, so our down payment assistance programs are going to be more favorable for you overall when it comes to budget. A lot of listing agents and agents think that, the waiting period to get these programs funded are longer. It is not. You can actually fund these loans in the same period as any loans. Okay, so we can close them in 21 days, even during fraud programs. Okay, out-of-pocket costs for down payment assistance programs are also lower. The approval process requires a little bit extra steps. There are some additional forms where you're going to be required to provide to us along with your 8-hour education course. So those are extra things that are required versus traditional loans. And we'll help you navigate through that. And down payment assistance potentially can lower your monthly payment. And one of the things that all that happens is that your down payment assistance, along with your own down payment, can help you bring that lower balance low and potentially lower your monthly payment. Okay. On the pre-approval process, the next step would be it's go ahead and start applying with us. Submit your application online. We will send you a list of information that we need. One of the documents that are going to be required, it's going to be your income. We're also going to need your bank statements and your pay stubs in order for us to calculate your debt to income ratio. We will review with you traditional versus down payment assistance programs as well. So congratulations, you just learned a lot of information about down payment assistance. Now your home journey starts. Give us a call, let us know you're interested in applying. We'd be more than happy to send you the links to the applications. And let's compare your options and take action today. Don't wait till next year until the program's launched and we're starting to collect paperwork. Our goal is to provide the utmost best service to you. So we want to prepare you early in the game. If you want to schedule a consultation with us, go ahead and log on to our website or just scan this QR code to download your application. And also there's going to be a link in my calendar there to be able to, set up a consultation. All right. Well, with that, I think we're all wrapped up. I have Sandra, I think it's in here. We lost her for a little bit, but she's back.
I
Yay.
am sorry.
It's okay.
One second.
This is what happens with webinars.
Oh my gosh.
No worries, no worries. But yeah, so we're gonna be wrapping it up. So those are just, some information. We'll get back into giving you more details as the Dream for All program gives us more updates. I would highly recommend for you to sign up for newsletters on the CalHFA's website. Sandra will be also updating you on any new programs, any city programs that's going to be also coming along. And if you have any questions for me, feel free to schedule a call. My website, it's my calendar is live on my website, so just feel free to chime in. We are a team of 4, so there's always someone available to help you and assist you through your journey. Okay.
Thank you, Luz. Really appreciate it. And definitely, if anyone is ready to at least take the step to be able to meet with you and then talk about what their best options is the next step. I greatly appreciate it. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Luz, for being here on our first time home webinar. I really appreciate your time and letting our guests know a little bit more about what CalHFA products can actually help them in regards to planning to purchase a home and what is available for them, not just, for this year, but also for what's coming up for 2026. So thank you so much. And let's hear what you have to say.
Thank you, Sandra. Yeah, it's always a great time, just especially now, the end of the year, to start preparing for home ownership in 2026 with a lot of the changes that are coming for consumer. It's a perfect time to prepare to buy a home. So thank you for having me. And today we're going to be covering about CalHFA and down payment assistance programs, right? Which is a very popular program right now, and everyone on social media is talking about the famous Street for All program, which we will cover. But before that, we will cover other down payment assistance programs. So thank you for having me. My name is Luz Yuncor with New World Mortgage, and I've been in the mortgage industry for 25 years. And in 25 years that I've been servicing the community in Los Angeles, it's been amazing to see the different type of programs available for first-time buyer. And to be honest, in my career, I have never seen as many programs available now than in the past. So if you have not, been involved or you haven't heard about programs that are available besides CalHFA products, please ask us about anything else that you are reading about because there's a lot of first-time buyer programs available. So we're going to be starting today with just basic information on CalHFA, and obviously our goal is to make sure that we're able to communicate everything and provide to you enough information that you can apply and move on with your application, okay? All right, let's get moving here real quick. So today's event, if you are registered, it's a webinar. We're going to talk, like Sandra mentioned to us, it's going to be all about CalHFA products and how to buy your first home. Our agenda, we're going to cover these topics. I'm going to talk a little bit about CalHFA's mission, different loan programs, borrowers eligibility, CalHFA products, income limitation, which is really important. It's a big question that we get asked all the time. Green for All program requirements, choosing a lender, how it's important for you to choose a lender that's familiar with down payment assistance program, and how down payment assistance program make a difference in the steps of your loan application. All right, let's start with CalHFA's vision. So CalHFA, it's available for everyone in California, and their vision